Good Wednesday night. It is I, it is he, it is me, it is PWDE Tepequeen in the place to be, cooler than a polar bear in a bowl of ice water, or the other side of the pillow. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the boardroom, July 8th, 2020 edition. Yes, 2020 without Bob Wawa, Andy Rooney, or Hugh Downs. But joining me to my right is the director of marketing. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the Don of 2 Cents Toys. Hail, Salvador.
Hello and salutations. It's me, Salvador, and tonight I'm joined by Commander Cody and Etepo Coin of Etepo Coin's Place to Be Reviews. You can see we're kicking back, talking to Bogan, and enjoying our new furniture. So, tonight we have some toy news and some various other types of news. I think this is going to be a wing it kind of episode, and I hope you all enjoy it. Thank you all for being here.
Well, thank you for being here, and I do like the setup, man. I truly do. That I love the clankers on the floor as the footstools where the clankers belong. But before we get to them, a man who knows a thing or two about clankers, ladies and gentlemen, he is Commander Cody from Goober Brothers Entertainment.
You know, you can tell that Brie Larson was the bully in high school because she's got no ass to beat. What's up, guys?
Is that like a personal attack or something?
Of course, it is. It is. What's going on, everybody? How y'all doing? It's great to be here. Another Wednesday night episode of the boardroom. 2 weeks apart is just it's too long.
It is. It's we used to do these every week, though. We used to do these every week, and it's always a good time getting together with you guys. Like I said, we don't get to do it nearly enough, but it's scheduling and things, and we understand that. Thank you, everybody in the chat, for joining us this evening. Let's see who we got over here. Like Sal said, it's going to be a wing kind of night. We had a guest had things happen. You know what? It's all good in the hood. Things happen. It's all right. We understand, man. And our guest is a great friend of the show, and you'll be seeing him sooner than later, so it's all good. Let's give a big welcome to Franchise History TV, Admiral Tiberius, Keely Chow, Flair X, of course. Thank you very much for joining us. Hail, let's see, Admiral Tiberius has got it right. He says, "Hail, you handsome bastards! Hail you sexy son of a bitch!" Thank you for joining us. Keely Chow asks a question here, and I'm going to acknowledge this once. Keely Chow, is Javika Leslie going to be the one pegging Pete? Now, Keely Chow, this is for you, bud.
Why are you the way that you are? I hate so much about the things that you choose to be.
But seriously, I love you, Keely Chow. I love you anyway. Thanks. Thank you, guys. We appreciate you being here this evening. Make sure you bitch slap that like button, smash it, kick it, I don't care, smack it, flip it, rub it down, whatever you want to do. Make sure that you do it, because as I demonstrated the other night, Monday night, on Going in Raw, episode number 108, YouTube likes to pilfer my likes from me. And I'm not just joking when I say that, because we had a peak of 20 and it settled in around 14. And I know people don't unhit the like button when they're watching my show. It doesn't happen. We have people that smash the dislike button, but you know what? You're still taking that time. I'm still living rent free in your head. So
I can think of a couple people that would, but
yeah, it's all good, man. It's all good. Let's see here. So we have, yes, Keely Chow mentioned one of our topics that I wanted to bring up this evening is this young lady named Javika Leslie taking the mantle as Batwoman. She is Ryan Wilder. I don't know if they're going to change the character name, if that was just a casting name, like they use for the characters, like they've done with the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, have all had Seinfeld working titles. Spider-Man 3 is called Serenity Now. That's what they call it in production. So it's kind of funny that they give him these working titles. So I was kind of wondering if Ryan Wilder was just a kind of a filler name, if you will, for the real name of the character. But bounding into comics, The CW reveals their Batwoman replacement for Ruby Rose. This John F. Trent today. And I am not going to complain about aesthetically about this young lady. Because yeah, she's a fine looking female specimen, that is for sure. Let's see. So Leslie will play a character named Ryan Wilder. This is from Variety, reported on by Bounding into Comics. They describe her as likable, messy, a little goofy and untamed. She's also nothing like Kate Kane, previously played by Ruby Rose, the woman who wore the bat suit before her. Wilder's backstory includes being a drug runner who made a habit out of avoiding the GCPD. She's also masked her pain with bad habits. While she previously was a drug runner, she now lives in a van with her plant.
Down by the river.
I was waiting for that.
There you go.
Variety adds, a girl who would steal your milk for an alley cat and could also kill you with her bare hands. Ryan is the most dangerous type of fighter, highly skilled and wildly undisciplined.
So did she get her training by rabid felines underneath the bridge?
I think so. She's also an out lesbian, athletic, raw, passionate, fallible, and very much not your stereotypical all-American hero.
I mean, the jokes just write themselves, you know.
This is going to be a fucking dumpster fire. And I sat through 20 episodes.
Isn't this one of the two that were mentioned in the running initially? Did we cover that?
We did, but no, she was not. It was another young lady who is on Riverdale. And there was a so it came down to at that point, before this young lady, Miss Leslie here, was selected as Batwoman, you had a straight heterosexual black woman and a white lesbian. That they were, and this, I don't know if this woman is a lesbian. I'm going to probably guess that since they cast her in the role and they were so adamant about that, they probably did, but I haven't really looked into it yet.
Mm-hmm. What's her name and how's it spelled?
It is.
What's her daddy? What does he do?
Her name is, what is it?
Java Juice.
Javika Leslie. Javic.
I found her.
Okay. Javicia. I'm sorry, Javika. Javicia.
Yeah.
You know it's going to be a woke show when her last name is Leslie.
Let's see.
Kind of like someone we know in Star Wars.
Let's see.
She didn't have a Wikipedia page. What the fuck?
She says, I'm extremely proud to be the first black actress to play the iconic role of Batwoman on television. Oh, she's bisexual. Okay.
So not gay enough. Got it.
Nope. Ruby Rose got that too because they said she wasn't gay enough because she was like gender fluid.
Yeah, that was going to be my next follow-up. I was going to determine that and say, okay, so she's not gay enough. Well, we'll see. That's the fun thing about these the people who like to virtue and all that, is that there's always one that's not good enough. So I like to see where the kind of standings are. Like we saw it with the lead up to Captain Marvel, how someone complained that Samuel L. Jackson's Nick Fury had more dialogue in the preview than she did, or something.
Yes.
So I always like to see the level of importance that these groups are to these people. So I keep a little tally, so I know, okay, so if I want a virtue signal in the future, I need to hit all these wickets, and then I'll beat everybody.
Yep. Where do you set the bar?
Exactly. So
I'm setting it pretty low for this show, considering, for one, I've never watched it, and two, Batwoman got darker. Just randomly. Like, what are they going to do? They're just going to kill her off? Be like, all right, well, she kind of sucked as Batwoman, so let's get a new one in there.
Well, they said, I can't remember how they're going to describe it. They're going to
be a different color every season. Like, are they going to get a Chinese woman to be Batwoman season 3, and then
I was going to say, I think
that a French Canadian the 4th season, and then
that'd be fucking hilarious if they used the girl that plays her Kate's stepsister, Mary Hamilton. I can't remember the actress's name. She's She's another one. She's at she's like I said, CW show. She's gorgeous, but
They get
she's
the ghost of Martha Wayne.
Why did you say that name?
You're not supposed to say that.
I think that should be a new GIF. The fucking the part from Step Brothers. Go, don't say that. Anytime someone says Martha.
That does need to be a new one. That was a good one. Let's do it. Make it happen, Pete.
All right. Let's see.
The last season, they're gonna like the whoever's playing Batwoman at the last season. She's gonna have the final battle, and then she's gonna have like the ghost of Martha Wayne, and she's gonna be like, all of the past Batwomans live within you now.
All the Batwomen are in you.
I think gross. I think they're going to. I think they're going to like they're going to box themselves into a corner so hard that they've done everything that the ultimate plot twist is in the final season of Batwoman. It'll just be Batman.
Who's playing Batwoman the last season? Michael Keaton.
Yeah, he's Batman now. We've done everything else.
Yep. Oh God. So yeah, they were pretty much spot on with the description of this Ryan Wilder character. Yeah, man, this is going to be a like I said, I don't she's going to steal Batwoman's suit before being confronted by Luke Fox, who traces the bat suit to a parking lot where Wilder is the only person there. So she's probably going to beat the shit out of Luke Fox. You know, because they got to make him look like a chump, of course.
She just gets to be Batwoman because she stole it, and
well, they tie it into Scarecrow.
I like Scarecrow.
Yep, Jonathan Crane is Scarecrow, correct? So in this conversation with Fox,
Dr. Jonathan Crane,
it is revealed that Wilder is seeking revenge against Dr. Jonathan Crane for killing her mother. In fact, the alleged leak specifically indicates she wanted to kill Crane for killing her mother. Leslie previously played Allie Finer in God Friended Me and Paris Duncan in The Family Business. She had 2 guest appearances as Jessie Colton in MacGyver, which I've never seen. What do you make of this casting choice by the CW? Well, I mean, if you're talking strictly aesthetics, I mean, like I said, man, this woman she's gorgeous. I mean, there's no 2 ways about it. I mean, she's absolutely beautiful. But is she a bona fide actress? Now, and I don't say that in defense of Ruby Rose, because Ruby Rose was fucking terrible. I mean, she was god awful to watch. So my question being, are we in for more of the same? Is it, meet the new boss just like the old boss kind of thing?
I think it's going to be worse. I think it's going to be weaker. Like how the first season went. So
it was horrible.
I think the setup for season 2 is going to be way worse, and you're going to go, how is she a superhero? I don't get it.
Mm-hmm. And Admiral Tiberius is kind of racist. A disciplined fighter can almost always beat an undisciplined fighter. And yeah, that's the thing, is like they're trying to like say, oh, well, she's some crazy wild card because she's, it's one of those things where like you would see like in the Fox sitcom The Falls, this one's about breaking all the rules. That's just like what it kind of strikes me as. And it's like it seems a bit contrived to me, but it is the CW, so I don't know what else to expect from them aside from a very aesthetically pleasing cast that can act somewhat is I guess all we can hope for here.
I feel like they were just like they were drawing things out of a hat. They're like, all right, this is the hat of tropes, and we're just gonna pull out a bunch of tropes and we're gonna apply it to this character. And they just, I think there was nothing left in the hat. They just pulled them all out.
They're like, let's see, we got bisexual. Okay, that's a good one. We'll put that over here in a keep pile. Okay, black. All right, black bisexual. All right, now let's see here. What else can we get? All right, it's like, whoa, what? Okay, so we got the actress. Now we got alphabet and we got POC according to the SJWs, and that's a lot of fucking buzzwords I'm throwing out there, and I do apologize. I don't like to speak in buzzwordese. I feel like I should be watching my SJW bingo card right now, stamping off shit.
You better be careful. You're gonna get canceled.
Oh fuck. I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for it. I got to be important first. I got to be
True.
important first. I'm not important enough to cancel. I think that's
No.
I think that's why our boy's so stymied over there. But no, I don't know, man. This show just this is the thing. Okay, the show was bad in the first season, but you did have some storylines that are unresolved, man. You got some arcs and some cliffhangers. You had the whole conflict was basically between Alice or Beth, Kate's sister, and Kate, about the mother and you left me and this and that. So what do they do with Alice now? Where does she's like one of the mainstays on this show. So where does she fit in? You just write her right the fuck out of the show now? As a villain, do you kill her off right away? Jacob, the head of the Crows, what is he going to have what kind of relationship is he going to have with Batwoman? His daughter was Batwoman before, so there was this uneasy peace between them. He didn't know it at first, but
Well, if they had if they had more than like two brain cells to rub together, they would just have them turn face, be like, oh, now they have a common enemy between, with Scarecrow or something, and then they'll work together. Ultimately, Scarecrow meets his end, or gets defeated, or is put in Arkham or something by the end of season 2. And going into season 3, like right at the tail end, like that little stinger, be like, oh, I'm glad we were able to come together. And then, she says something like, well, don't get used to it because now we don't have a common enemy. I'm coming for you. And then that leads into season 3.
see, that would make sense though, and that's good writing, and that's not what we get on the CW. And
Right.
that's one thing that really bothered me is, you know what? I would have made Alice Batwoman, her sister Beth, because you could have easily turned her face because, like you said, they did that tweener gimmick with her a couple times because it was the enemy of my enemy is my friend or whatever, that kind of deal with her and Kate, where they kind of teamed up. So why not? I would make her Batwoman. Rachel Scarston is a scene stealer in that show.
Mm-hmm.
She's a decent actress. She was one of the better parts of that show. And I don't understand. Well, oh yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. I think she's heterosexual and she's white.
I don't understand how Tyler Perry didn't get the role as Batwoman.
I would have rather seen Medea as Batwoman than.
That's what I'm saying. You get a Medea Batwoman, dude. She's almost as OP as Shaggy.
Medea Batwoman. Oh my lord!
I am the nerd.
I'm the nerd. I can't even do it. I can't do it. Oh shit! But yeah, this show's gonna be bad. It's. I'll watch it though. Like I said, man, I'm beholden. I don't know if I'll make it through the entire second season, how long the season goes or whatever. I don't know if I'll make it through it.
I think it'll get canceled. Like everybody expected season 1 to get canceled, but since they're going through like this huge change, I think it's set up to be doomed.
It kind of is if it was any network but the CW. But with Greg Berlanti has, like 20 fucking shows on the air at the same time. It's just like one of his shows, like losing money is like throwing pebbles in the ocean. So he really doesn't care.
Watch it get to like 10 seasons.
Oh God!
Most successful show on the CW.
If Batwoman can equal the amount of seasons of Dallas, I will review every single one of them as long as YouTube is around and I'm YouTubing still. Okay. Dallas did 13 fucking seasons. So
good for them.
If between 19
who shot JR?
Who shot JR? It was his wife. It was Sue Ellen.
That was being facetious.
That was the cliffhanger. That was like the biggest dude at the time. That was like one of the biggest cliffhangers in like television history.
Mm-hmm.
God damn!
I was being facetious.
I know. I love that show. I do.
Pete's getting passionate over it.
I do. I love Dallas, man. That show's fucking awesome. The first episode, most of the cast wore their own clothes. That's how low the production.
Didn't they try to bring that back at one point?
They did, and it was okay until Larry Hagman died. They had him. They had Patrick Duffy. What's her name? Linda. I don't think Linda Evans came back. But what was Victoria Principal was Bobby's wife. But yeah, she Yeah, she came. Admiral Tiberius says Pete is a habitual line stepper. I am. I am. I was just talking about that with somebody else actually. But yeah, man, they did bring that back. They only did like a season or two of it. It was kind of like the new Melrose Place, which I thought was all right, but that one only lasted like I think a season too. I was kind of disappointed in that, but I like the mix of the old and the new cast. But I don't think Batwoman's gonna go that way.
Right. No, good.
No. Go ahead, man.
I was gonna say, just speaking about shows that have a following or are famous or have been around for a while, I they're always God, words for those listening. Words are very hard. Okay, they're hard to speak, they're hard to write, and they're very difficult to read. There's always those shows or those movies or those books that everyone claims to have seen, read, what have you, because it's like, it's one of those things that you have to say, I guess, like, oh, I've always, what's a good example? Like Casablanca, like, oh, it's a classic. It's like, but have you seen it?
Yeah.
And for me, one of those is like Twin Peaks. Like everyone talks about how great Twin Peaks is. Everyone's supposed to have watched it, and it's one of those shows that I just have never seen.
Me either.
And I know it came back, and it had like this huge thing, like, oh, Twin Peaks is back, and everyone was really excited for it. And I was like, I never saw the first one. I tried to watch it, and I couldn't get into it. But I think I watched like exactly one episode, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then by the end of the episode, I was like, I don't think I like this. So I don't know. I feel like Melrose Place and Dallas and all that. Those are shows that a lot of people watch. Like I know you've seen it because you talk about it a lot. But it's like a lot of people are like, oh, Dallas. I'm like, have you seen it?
Yeah.
Or is it just one of those shows that's so well known that you can say, oh yeah, I've seen it, and people just kind of go along with it, or like, I don't know, reading the Scarlet Letter or something like that. Like, there's always these books that people had to read in high school.
Yep.
But if we're being perfectly honest with each other, like most people stop reading if you don't have to read it, you probably didn't read it.
Mm-hmm.
Cliff
So
Notes.
I don't know.
Yeah, I never read the Scarlet Letter. I didn't.
Yeah, I know what it's
to.
about, but I don't think I ever read it.
We had to read it.
Yep. I remember.
Well, I ended up cliff noting it like halfway through. I was like, fuck it.
Which go ahead, Pete.
No, I was just gonna say I remember a girl I was dating had like one of the classes she was in. She had to read it, and we were joking around about it. But yeah, I know basically what it's about, but I don't know specifics or anything.
That's fucked
Right.
up, dude.
Yeah, but I guess that leads me, since we're kind of winging it, I'd be interested if there's any, for the chat or for us here on the panel, like any movie or show or something that's like a classic that is a classic but have never actually seen.
Yeah, I'm looking for new movies to watch, and Lord knows there's a lot of movies that are like, yeah, this is a staple in cinema, and I'm like, I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
It's like Godfather, for example. I know it's like one of the tried and true, like considered a perfect movie kind of deal.
Yeah.
I didn't see the first Godfather till I was in college, and I haven't seen the other two.
Never seen any of them.
Okay.
So,
I own the first one. I've seen it probably 3 or 4 times.
mm-hmm.
I don't really care for it. I acknowledge why people like it. I don't hate the movie. I simply I don't care for it. You know what I mean? It's if somebody says, "Hey, you want to watch The Godfather?" I'd be like, "Can I watch Muppet Babies on Disney Junior instead?"
Ooh, that's a good one.
Like, and I feel bad because people are like, "How do you not like that?" I'm like, "Look, man, I acknowledge it's a great film. I truly do, and I understand the merits of it. It's just not." When I think of gangster movies, it's just not one that if I have to watch, like I'm going with like a Bronx Tale or Casino or Goodfellas, something like that, Scarface before I go to Godfather.
Mm-hmm. Let's see, like Citizen Kane is considered like the best, most perfect movie ever made, and I've never seen it. Like it's one of those things where like I'm familiar enough with things like Rosebud and things like that. Like I get it, but I've never actually seen it.
I think I remember seeing it like at Blockbuster on the shelf, and then, never seen it. Like a lot of those movies, like those gangster movies, I've never really I don't know, I've never gotten into them. I'm a big like comedy guy, I like action movies and sci-fi and fantasy and shit, but I don't know, just like gangster movies. I don't know, like Goodfellas, never seen that either. Scarface,
Mm-hmm.
never seen that either. I know it sounds crazy because every dude has seen it, but I don't know. Guess I'm not cool enough. I don't know.
Yeah.
Scarface is extremely long. It's like three
Mm-hmm.
hours. It's like 2 hours and 57 minutes. To
Some
me,
people say
it's worth it. Literally, and I'm not even joking. I've probably watched that movie at least 100 times. I'm not. I have
Jeez.
no, not even joking, dude. Like that was like, I used to watch that movie like 2 or 3 times a week when I was in my 20s, and like yeah, it was my movie.
The
Mm-hmm.
Irishman. Okay, I heard
That
that one was good too.
Yeah,
that
that's
is
another long one.
fuck. It is,
Really?
dude. The
It's like
soundtrack,
3.5 hours or some shit.
Is it the
yeah.
same guy that directed like The Godfather or whatever?
Martin Scorsese, yeah.
Yeah.
Or wait, did Coppola did The Godfather, didn't he? Was it
Francis Ford
Scorsese?
Coppola.
Or did was it?
Maybe, I don't know.
Actually,
Like that's the thing. Like they all, to me, all those movies kind of bleed together.
they do. They
And so
do.
like there was like when I saw, I think I've seen Goodfellas twice or three times. Which one is the one about Nash and Al Capone and getting him in prison and all that? They get him for tax evasion.
Oh, that's Untouchables
Untouchables. Okay.
with Kevin Costner,
Right. Yeah.
Sean.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's one of those ones that I've seen it, but I get it mixed up with like movies like Goodfellas and shit all the time because they all bleed together to me, and I'll be like, oh yeah, I've never seen that. And then partway through, I'm like, yeah, I've seen this one.
yeah.
Al
So
Capone used to own a house here in my town.
nice.
Nice. Oh,
And that same thing happened to me with not Pulp Fiction. It was and this is gonna sound weird because the two movies are completely different, and I understand that. But I'm saying at the time when this happened, I didn't know the difference, and I got them completely mixed up, which is gonna sound ridiculous when I tell you, but you know the difference now. I got Boondock Saints and Reservoir Dogs mixed up.
oof.
Yeah, big oof. So, because Boondock Saints was one of those movies in high school that all my friends had seen Boondock Saints and how cool it was, and I was like, yeah, I've seen that. I love that movie. Ha 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 ha. Just trying to go along with it so I could sound cool.
Mm.
And then I went to Walmart to buy it and didn't like. I don't know. I kind of got it mixed up. I just saw Reservoir Dogs. I was like, oh, that's the movie people are talking about. So I bought it, and I hated that movie. I hated it so much that I tried to return it, and
Damn.
that's when I found out. They're like, yeah, once you open a movie, you can exchange it for the same copy, but you can't return it because of piracy.
Could
And
you exchange
so,
it
like,
for another movie the same price?
once you open a movie or a video game, you can only exchange it for the same product, and it has to be faulty. So anything that's a physical media, like a CD or a movie, something like that, or a video game, they only have an exchange. Like all the people that bought Last of Us 2 and can't return it. That's why you can't return it. It's because of piracy. Like you can only exchange it for another copy of Last of Us 2. So, but that's how I found that out. This is back in 2006, and the thing is, like the crazy part about it is, the more I told people how much I hated it, the more I started to like it. It was fucking weird. Like I like that movie now. I love that movie, but when I first watched it, and I think it's only because I expected it to be Boondock Saints, and it definitely was not. And that's why I hated it so much. But I ended up liking it quite a bit after that. So
I don't like Boondock Saints. I
yeah,
I don't. I've seen I think I've seen both of them, but the first one I was like, and I like Norman Reedus. I like I said, it's not like I was like I bash on the movie. I was just like indifferent. Like I was watching it and I was playing on my phone, and it didn't hold my interest. Everybody's like shocked when I say that. I don't know. I just didn't. And I'm not trying to be contrarian. I truly like. I just wasn't like it wasn't a movie that held my attention at all, like at
yeah.
all.
It's one of those movies for me that Boondock Saints is. I liked it. Like, and when I finally did watch it, I was like, "Oh, this is a fun movie." Just because I like Willem Dafoe, I like
Yeah.
Norman Reedus. Like, I liked it was a fun movie. But it falls into that category like Rick and Morty or like Harry Potter. It's where the fans killed it for me
Oh,
because they were just
You
like,
don't like Harry Potter, man?
I I kind of like it. Like I started reading, so I won't be one of those people that's like, I've been reading the books since they came out. Like I started reading the books when the third one came out. And so, I started reading the books way before the movies were really thought of. but it was kind of like around that time when the first movie came out, which I think is when the fifth book came out. If my timeline's all fucked. The fifth
Yeah, it
book came
is.
out in 2005,
Yeah,
and the first movie came out in what, 2002?
2001, 2002, around there.
2000, okay, so it was after the fourth book, before the fifth book. But to me, at least in my area, I can only speak to my experiences. Um, that it didn't seem. It was like I think it was around the sixth book when that came out. Is when like all these Harry Potter people started pouring out of the woodwork out of fucking nowhere. Like they started doing midnight releases in my town and shit like that for the books, and
Yeah, they
it
did
was
them
just
here too.
yeah, it was just all. It was like the fan base just fucking killed it for me because it was like, yeah, it's a good book. I like reading it. Well, and then they'd want to know like, well, what house are you in? I was like, I don't fucking know. What's your Patronus? I don't fucking know. I just read the books. So
Dude,
My
it
Patronus-
was,
all I caught was Patron. I'm like, what was there some tequila up in there? No,
Yeah.
My Patronus is a otter.
nice, but it's like the same thing happened with Rick and Morty. Like I liked Rick and Morty up until like I think it was like season 3 when all this Szechuan sauce shit started going
my
on, and all those
God.
videos of people losing their shit in McDonald's. I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna be a part of this.
So little story, like when that Szechuan sauce shit came out,
oh god,
everyone was going crazy for it, and I wanted to try it. I was like, I want to try this really bad. This seems really cool.
Hmm.
But like everybody else's hype on it was so beyond like anything I can compare. Like I've been to midnight releases for video games and movies that were not even touching this shit. They had it at like only select McDonald's. So the closest one to me was was over in Cocoa Beach. It's a McDonald's right across from Ron John Surf Shop. So I go there with my girlfriend and we walk in. There's a line that weaves through the McDonald's like a snake, just all around every corner. And I'm like, are you shitting me? And it leads all the way to the end to like the very like the what is it? I think it's like the outdoor entrance to
Wow.
where like the outdoor seating's at.
Right.
So this thing's weaving through that whole thing. Everyone's wearing like a Rick and Morty shirt. Everyone smells like shit. They're all like dirty teenagers, like or like late or like early 20s or whatever. And they all look like they just left Hot Topic.
Screaming about Pickle Rick, probably.
yeah.
Yes.
That
And
that was the
everyone
episode that
losing
just
it.
yeah.
And we wait in line for maybe I don't know 2 minutes, and then the lady at the register was like, "We're all out of sauce," and then everyone left. We're just like, "Are you shitting me right now?"
dude.
And everyone was mad. They were losing it. They were like screaming, and we're just like, "Let's get the fuck out of here." And then I go on eBay to look at see if people are starting to sell them, just because I'm like, I could see people doing this. And there's like $50 for a pack of sauce. I'm like, fuck that.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, dude, it wasn't even that good. Like I had it the first time around when goddamn Mulan came out. I was like 17 years old. I remember that shit. It was like what 90? It was like 96 or 97 when that came out.
I liked it on like a McDonald's grading scale. It was really really good, but just for a sauce,
But yeah,
It's
that's what I'm
a
saying,
scale
man. It's just like it's average, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. That did though. The fan base of Rick and Morty, yeah, that I quit watching after the 3rd season. I used to be in a bunch of Rick and Morty groups and shit, and it's like those like the hardcore fans, not like your casual fans, you know, but they're fucking just gross.
They like The Last Jedi.
Holy, they do. They truly do.
What is it? What like? I don't think I've ever asked you guys like what are your guys like? Some of your least favorite movies, like you fucking hate them.
Outside of the obvious choices?
Yeah.
Yeah, outside of like
Okay.
Captain Marvel and you haven't seen Captain Marvel, but like
No, I haven't.
outside of The Last Jedi and shit like that.
Okay. Like movie. So I, I wouldn't call it my least favorite, but I did recently see a very bad movie. So I don't know. Cody, I'm sure you are. I don't know if Pete is. You're familiar with the Winchester House?
Yeah,
Okay, so the Winchester House was a mansion that the heiress to the Winchester Firearms Company. She started to build it. She was into the occult and like seances and shit, and she kept this house. She started building it, and at its peak was 7 stories tall. Then an earthquake happened, and it became 4 stories tall. but it has like 170 some odd rooms, and for the 30 years that she owned it, she continuously kept building on it because she thought that the ghosts were telling her that she had to and all this kind of stuff.
The ghosts of like all the Winchester rifle victims and shit.
Right, the people who had been killed by the Winchester rifles, right? But it was like, so it's interesting, you know. I think it was Rose Red by Stephen King talks about it and all that. How while they're there, the house is still being built, even though no one lives there and all that kind of stuff.
that.
So, yeah, so that's a good movie. I liked that. But there's a movie that came out in 2018 called Winchester, which is it's not bad. It doesn't start out bad. It starts out pretty good. Then it's about I'd say 2/3 of the way through, it just goes and just
Same.
shits itself. And
Yeah,
I'm
that
like,
movie
this
sucks.
movie's fucking. I finished it just because I'd gone so far. I was like, well, I'm gonna finish this damn movie. It was fucking bad. So, they took what could have been a really cool concept, especially like I like suspense horror movies where they like they give you all this evidence like ghosts and this that and the other, and it turns out to be like a rational explanation at the end. Like none of this actually happened. It's because something in their garden has been giving them hallucinations or something. I like some kind of twist like that at the end. It was just like, nope, this guy that got his brothers killed in the Civil War decided to kill a bunch of people. Now he's this big old powerful ghost. And it's like this movie sucks.
That's exactly how it is. It's like, okay, the
Yeah,
fuck's it have to do with anything? Like, it's just, I don't know. It just doesn't really go anywhere.
No, it doesn't. And it just, I don't know. It's bad. But some of my least favorite movies. You got any, Pete?
Oh God, Legends of the Fall. I fucking hate that movie.
What is that?
I just can't stand it. I want to like if that movie was a person, I would punch it in the face, like repeatedly, and kick it in the ribs. And then while it tried to get up, I would run from about 10 feet away and boot it right in the nose.
You sure you're not talking about Captain Marvel?
No, I'm talking about Legends of the Fall. I fucking hate that movie.
Okay.
Let's see what else. What else do I violently despise that's not like blatantly obvious? I'm trying to think because there's a couple movies that are just like they just make. I don't even have hair in the back. Well, I haven't shaved today, so there's a little bit back there, but that make it just stand up on edge. And one of them is I'm trying to think because there's some that like I try to like block them out, and not even think about them, but. Like Twilight, like my ex would watch that, and so now whenever I see Twilight, I don't care like how expensive the TV is. I want to just like Hulk smash it because it makes me think of my ex, and she used to sit there and insufferably watch at least the first one, I think, because I don't think I can't remember when they came out. I see it's just like I don't know those fucking things. I know she used to watch one of them, and I was like, I just why. And I would have my headphones on, and actually I'd be like working on YouTube because that's I was YouTubing back then too. And yeah, man, it was funny though. But yeah, so Twilight, Legends of the Fall, I fucking this is gonna be another one, man. People are gonna hate me for, but I don't like The Departed at all. I don't know why. I really don't have a good reason. I don't like it.
I think that's one of those movies that I can't think about it, but I'm pretty sure I've seen.
DiCaprio.
Oh yeah, it gets shot in the elevator.
Yeah, Matt Damon and what's his name? He used to play the president, Martin Sheen.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Great cat and Jack Nicholson. I think Donnie Wahlberg was in it, or Mark Wahlberg. One of the fucking Wahlbergs. Was in
I thought he was in that.
Yeah. It was Mark. It was Mark. 'Cause I remember he punched. He had like a hard on for I think it was DiCaprio, but he was like so deep undercover in that. But yeah, I don't. I'm not a fan of The Departed. But those are three right off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
What about
one of mine is fucking. Most people don't even remember this fucking movie, but it was a Final Fantasy movie. It came out in 2004.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it had nothing to do with the video games. It was just called Final Fantasy.
What was it about?
I don't remember. That's how much I fucking hated that movie. I paid to go see it, and I was like, this movie fucking sucks. Another one, and people give me shit for it, is Chronicles of Riddick.
Oh, that's a good one.
I'm indifferent with that one.
I paid to go see it, not knowing it was a sequel to Pitch Black. I didn't know it was a sequel. I thought it was just a standalone movie. So I was like, what the hell is going on? Like, I didn't understand anything that was happening. I was like, why are his eyes black? Like, why is that significant? Like, I did not get any of it.
I like those
So,
movies.
um, I don't like violently hate them, but people are shocked that I say when I say I don't like any of the Fast and Furious movies. Like,
Yeah, I could do without those.
I won't
I
knock you
saw
for that.
I saw the first two, and I was like, okay, this is all right, I guess. And then now they're on like Final Fantasy, they're on like Fast and Furious like 15 or some shit right now, and I'm just like, ugh. Like it's one of those things that people fucking love that shit where I'm from, and I'm like, like, so where I grew up is very backwoods. There's a lot of mountains and shit, and hillbillies and rednecks and the like. But they're obsessed with shit like fucking Fast and the Furious. And I'm like, you drive a '98 Ford pickup. Why are you obsessed with fucking Fast and the Furious? Like driving
Mama, I want
Maseratis
to
and
go
shit.
fast.
I guess.
That's how people are down here too. And then you got people also doing that kind of shit on the road, and they're like, okay, let's not kill everyone here.
Hmm.
Dude, it was the same when the first Fast and Furious came out. Yeah, I was like, let's see, that came out, I think it was like 2001. Was it 2000 or 2001? I'm like 20, 21 years old at the time, and all my friends have these like go out and get these fucking little goddamn like Ford Focuses and Honda Civics and shit like that. And there you go, Chris. Well, you goddamn right, the people's champ. Let me get my title belt. Hang on a second after I'm done fucking on this cutaway. So they were buying. They weren't doing anything to the engines, but they were putting fucking weed whacker, and big ass coffee can exhaust gimmicks and on these little cars and fucking.
Those are cool, man.
Putting Batman fins on these motherfuckers, but didn't do a goddamn thing to the engine except put a K&N filter in it. It's like
those are super cool, man.
Yeah, I'm like, it would be cool if you had like a fucking like engine, to match the aesthetics of the car.
Oh man, you gotta get some cool blue lights right underneath it.
Okay, so I did this to a minivan. All right, I had
Nice.
I had a 93.
That's a great way to start off a conversation.
I had a 93 Caravan. Right, I had, what was it?
Hell yeah, Dodge.
I had I had two 10-inch kicker comp VRs with 1000D Memphis Bell amp pushing those. I can't remember what kind of head unit it was. Had some nice components. Had bean bags in the van. Had chromes
Turn that shit
on
into
it.
a goddamn spaceship.
Had chromes on it. I had fucking the windows all blacked out and shit. You had bean bags in the fucking back.
You get the fuzzy dice in the
around the
mirror.
subs. Oh fuck yeah! I had the dice I had lit up. And I had the neon, the pedals were neon blue because I had the underbody neons. I had blue neons all over the inside of it.
Remember, you get the foot pedal that was the shape of a foot.
It was blue though. They all lit up blue. And I got pulled over, and the cop fucking asked me. He goes, because I got pulled over for driving with my neons on, and literally I got pulled over right outside of the fucking apartments I was living in. I was like not even 100 feet away from the driveway, and got pulled over. It was like my girlfriend's mom lived right outside of there. I got pulled over right in front of her goddamn house at like 11:30 at night. My neons on and shit, like a dumbass though. I mean, but yeah, Admiral Tiberius, yes, that was believe it or not, yeah, that van. Yeah, it had a big ass white vinyl strip across the fucking windshield and shit like that. I think I even had the little lowrider man in the back of it, like I did my Buick. I had the lowrider man emblem in the back of I had a Park Avenue all tripped out too, but I totaled that when I was drunk. That's why I got the van, because I needed a vehicle and I bought it from a buddy of my dad's. Fucking bought a goddamn van and just pimped it the fuck out. I'm like, if I'm gonna drive this thing, I'm gonna pimp it out. Fuck it.
See, Sal, this should make you like Fast and Furious more.
Right. Well, that's crazy. So it was around like Tokyo Drift. I think had come out. What was that? 2005, something like that.
Around there, yeah.
That was like the third one.
So I won't say where I'm from. You two know where I'm from.
Yeah.
It's a very small town, and so when you think of Fast and Furious, you think of like Miami or like San Diego or like Daytona. You think of somewhere like tropical and nice because the weather is usually pretty nice in those areas. It's temperate, it doesn't snow a whole bunch or anything. But So this is what the guys would do in my town, like the ones that thought that they could be fucking Vin Diesel. So they would deck out these little rice burners and shit, and they'd put all the neon lights and shit. And I want you to take just a wild guess where the fuck that they would like congregate at 2 a.m. to start the little drag races. Just take a guess.
Walmart.
Yeah.
No.
Target. No, not
No.
Target.
Piggly Wiggly.
Ooh,
Nope.
that was a good guess. Oh, damn it. I would say Publix, but you're not. I don't think it's
Kroger.
Florida.
No. Those are all good guesses.
Dollar store.
In front of a Pier 1 import. They had a little strip of parking, so there's like a main street that, like, it's not called Main Street, but there's like a main drag that goes through like my entire town. And there's a Pier 1 import that has like 7 parking spots that face that, and they would all park there.
That's some dumb shit, right?
Yeah.
They'd have their little like Lamborghini doors and shit, or butterfly doors open with their lights on and all that, and it's like, you all meet here every fucking week. It's the same 3 cars.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I put gas in it this time. Yeah, that was my improvement this week.
I got new car scent.
I'll show you guys. I see Men's Room's talking. He had a 71 Crown Vic. It's a police interceptor engine. Oh yeah, full exhaust, intake cam, 70mm throttle body, 150 shot of nitro. Nice. I'll shoot some video when I'm out at my old man's house. He just finished it. It's a 66 Fairlane. What is it? I'm not a gearhead. I mean, this thing it's beautiful. They redid it from the frame up. Everything's original. The engine is fucking, it's a beefcake. It's like what do you say? Like a 428 or some shit like that. Like it's a car that it's a fucking 5-speed, so I can't fucking drive it. That's why I'm buying his other one. He's got a Delta 88 Royale. It's an 85 though, the big body, last one with the V8, 46,000 original miles on it. So I'm gonna scoop that up from him if the motherfucker doesn't sell it first. I got pissed. He brought it over to my uncle's house. He had it for sale sign, and I was like, "Hey man, you said you were setting this aside for me." He's like, "You ain't got the money yet." I'm like, "I'm gonna kick your ass, old man." I was like, "I remember that shit. You're going in a home."
Everybody says they want like a really nice car. I want a tank.
I want a tank.
Like I can live the rest of my life in like a decent car, not too much money used, not too much miles. But motherfuckers, I want a tank. You know what? I'll cruise my happy ass all the way to Pier 1 Imports in that damn tank.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
That would be funny. We should do a live show from a Pier 1 Imports
That'd be funny.
before they go bankrupt. Completely.
I don't know where the fuck one is around me.
They're going out of business, so
Dude, hang on. Okay, Google. Where's the closest Pier 1 Imports to me? Or mute this bitch. She'll dox me.
Mm-hmm.
It is 50 miles away from me.
take your wife out the date night. She's like, "Where are you going?" And you're like, "It's a surprise."
There's one 50 miles, 55 miles, or 67 miles. And the one at 67 miles, I might get fucking shot. So I'm not going there. And I'm not joking. But yeah, I was just at the other day. Shit. But yeah, so I go down there. There's some nice restaurants down there. Drop her off. Be like, hey, I got to do a live show from Pier 1.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing. Like the funniest part about that, to me at least, because knowing where I'm from, is that my town didn't even have a Target or a Walgreens or a Best Buy or anything, but we had a fucking Pier 1 Imports.
Yeah, that's kind of odd, dude. Like that's just out of place.
It is,
Like,
but that's where all like the hoity-toity fucking fancy people would go and shop. I remember my mom dragging me in there once, and I mean we couldn't afford anything in there, but she just wanted to say that she'd been there. You know what I mean? That's the kind of town I'm from, like where bragging rights is like, oh, I've been to Pier 1 Import, and it's like, yeah, so is everyone. It's a small town.
You get a T-shirt. I survived Pier 1 Imports.
It's like putting something together with your wife from IKEA. I mean that's almost gonna end in divorce every fucking time.
Yo, highlight the men's room thing. Comment.
This one right here. Yeah. I was gonna say, Goober. Here you go. A deuce and a half
Send me a picture
for
of that
sale.
truck.
$4,000, dude. A deuce and a half.
$4,000.
That'd be fucking sick.
Send me a picture of that shit.
Rolling around South Florida, you in a fucking deuce and a half. Sal, I have a feeling. Okay, so put me and Cody in there. We'd have wigs and shit on. It'd be like Super Troopers. Neither of us could drive it.
Hell yeah.
We sitting there stalling it out. I thought you could drive this thing.
That's all we say. We just put on our. Well, I have a mustache, but we just. If you don't have one, I don't know if you have one, Sal, but.
I can grow one. It takes me about 9 days.
Okay. Yeah, we can just put on wigs, like keep our mustaches, and all we say is "Hell yeah."
Hell yeah.
Oh,
That's the thing, dude. Is like I can have whatever hairstyle I want because I'm like Lil Kim. I'm bald as fuck. I can just put wigs on.
Hell yeah.
You just get the Super Trooper hat.
Yeah, just give me a trucker hat and a wig.
Yeah, fucking. I think it was. They're called the Academy now, but what used to be Blackwater. They're selling a lot of their old vehicles now.
Ooh.
And they're like murdered out, fucking basically street legal tanks.
I want one.
Yeah. I know some of the. I think it's the Department of Defense, not just the Army, but I think the DoD's selling off a lot of their old Hummers. Like the big bitches.
Yes. Yeah.
Which people are like, yeah. And I'm like, you want one till you find out that there's no key. You just start that bitch and you get gassed by the foot, not by the mile.
Yeah. And the suspension in those ain't built for comfort.
Are they that bad?
There is no suspension. Like most of the back injuries people have is from riding in those things. Like you have you have like a little bucket bar stool seat to sit on if you're lucky.
Yeah, I've had the pleasure of touring the inside of one of those and going for a short jaunt in it, and I'm glad the jaunt was short and it was only a one-way trip.
Mm-hmm.
Good God, you are
correct. You would get a cheap zombie apocalypse vehicle.
Yeah.
My town is like probably like 1/4 car people.
Yeah, I would say, and people may disagree with me, that the best zombie apocalypse vehicle. This would be a fun topic. We'll call it doomsday prepping / zombie apocalypse preparedness.
Yes.
So I think everyone can get on this.
Absolutely.
We'll start with what vehicle you would use to get around. Now, I am probably in the minority on this, but I would argue a dirt bike would be good. While it produces a lot of noise, it's very small, you can push it yourself, and you'll be able to weave in and out of those cars that are permanently parked on the fucking road. And the motor is small, so you could fix it with like lawnmower parts if you need to. And it doesn't take a whole lot of gas.
That's a solid pick. And the miles per gallon is amazing on those.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't offer a whole lot of protection, but that's why, you're fast. So it's people would, I would have, my initial gut reaction would say like one of those Hummers or like one of the former Blackwater vehicles, but the gas alone, the upkeep, the parts for it are going to be really hard to find.
Just put a Prius engine in there.
Hell yeah. I don't think a Prius could push that bitch, but
no, you need like 8 Priuses.
Exactly. So, that's what I would say.
Yeah, it's to much to your point, Sal. The vehicle that, the actress's name from Lost, that played Shannon. She's on Fear the Walking Dead.
Oh, she is?
Yeah, she plays.
I just know her as the bitch that keeps getting tooken.
She plays Althea. The girl that played Maggie Grace. I'm sorry.
Maggie Grace, yeah.
Maggie Grace, the very lovely and talented Maggie Grace. Well, she looks nothing like she did. She has like a very short Karen haircut now. She plays Althea on here, who has a almost like, what is that, like an M wrap, I want to say, on Fear the Walking. Do you know what vehicle I'm talking about, Sal?
No, I saw the first season of Fear the Walking Dead, and that was it.
All right, I'll pull it up. While we talk, but yeah, so she has this vehicle and it's all decked out with like what are they, like, I want to say they're the 50 cals on the side, like they're belt fed. She pulls a lever and the sides, like the flaps fold down and these guns like fold out, and they're like, she just basically pulls the trigger and they just, anything in sight just gets. There's some amazing kill scenes with this thing. Just of her just laying out walkers and people with it. But yeah, it's a great vehicle, and like you said, in theory, but in practice, it's or practicality wise, it's not because of the gas and the parts and the upkeep. That's the problem with those big gas guzzlers, but they never really touch on that in these shows, unless it serves the plot for them to.
Mm-hmm. That's what would you say, Cody?
I'm kind of tossing back and forth a couple of them. While I think a school bus would be great,
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of leaning towards like a monster truck.
Okay.
Now, there's a truck here in town that I feel like if I'm fast enough, if I can get there quick enough in my little Honda, that it's basically a Nissan Titan that's like 15 feet in the air on these giant ass wheels. They're basically the monster truck wheels. It's fucking huge. Like, no zombies are getting up there unless they do the whole like wave thing from World War Z.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean that shit's gonna be like what's the fucking zombie movie that just came out?
There's like 1,000 of them. I don't know.
Yeah.
The Woody Harrelson one.
Oh, Zombieland 2 Double Tap.
Yeah, kind of like that. They got a monster truck. Yeah, you can just.
Yep.
It's basically just a Nissan Titan, just really high up. So I'd probably get a monster truck. It's just, I mean, not like a legit like monster truck from the shows like Monday or whatever.
Yeah.
But get like a regular truck. You can put some stuff in the back. Put some guns. You got a gunner on the back. You can fucking pick people off. No zombies are jumping up that high. If anything, zombies are going to be slow. So I think a monster truck would be cool. You'd have to get a ladder to get down, but because my knees are fucked.
Here it is, right here. See, here's her. Here's her gimmicks.
I work in special operations.
But yeah, that's that's Althea's vehicle. Like you said, it's cool to think about it, but yeah, practicality wise, God, what would I go with? Oh my God, I would probably stay with I would honestly go with something like my truck or a mid-size to large SUV. Gas, that way I could store gas in it. As I collected supplies and be able to live out of it if I needed to on the road. Plus, parts would be fairly common enough to be sustainable for a while until you could come up with alternate transportation or things return to normal. But yeah, I like the SUVs for that. Just a regular one too. You know what I mean? Something, it doesn't have to be like armor plated, because then you're weighted down. You're talking more gas mileage, or less gas mileage.
You just made a point there. Like, it's not going to be just you versus zombies. It's going to be the crazy people, like the alive people.
Yep.
So I don't know. I think I'm going to go with the monster truck still. I think you can. I mean, it's not like anyone's just going to be like going to jump up on the thing while you're going, because can't jump up on rotating wheels on the highway, so you're kind of fucked.
Yeah, that's the caveat to monster trucks, though. It got you get to that point where it's like you can almost be too big of a target.
That's what I was gonna say. Target profile.
Yep.
So I mean, you're not armored at all on a dirt bike or anything like that, but you are fast, and you got to think about off-roading. Like, you can take a dirt bike into the woods. You can't take a pickup truck. I mean, arguably you can, but I guess it depends on the type of woods you're going into. But I'm thinking more point A to point B kind of deal. Like, a school bus would be great because you could live in that, but that's a very large target profile, and you could get overwhelmed quickly. Though you do have at least two means of ingress and egress.
Yep.
So,
what about a Prius?
Oh Lord.
No, that stopped too easily.
But so I'm thinking. I guess it depends on what your method of survival is. If you're a fortification kind of person, or if you're a nomadic type of survivor. Because there's something to be said for both. Nomadic, you're always on the move, and you're constantly getting refreshed with supplies. But at least with fortification, you have a place that you know how to defend. You know the ins and the outs and all that kind of shit. But you're also a sitting target, so.
I don't know. I would say I would be the whole stay put type of guy for about the first month of it, because you'd have to get adjusted to everything and prepare yourself and stuff. And then, of course, I mean, first of all, where's the first place you guys go? I'm saying Walmart on this one. It's Walmart, and like in my town, you got a Walmart, a Home Depot, a Lowe's, and a Target, like all within like a couple minute walk from each other. I'm going Walmart.
See, that's the thing too. There's a fireworks and ammo store right across the street from the state police post here.
Dope.
So I mean, shit breaks down like that. That post's going to be abandoned, and odds are there will be some supplies left in there. Now, I'm not saying I'm going up in there first. That's not going to be the first place I go, because I'm not going in there and trying to get into a gunfight over some spare rounds with a couple troopers that are holed up. You know what I mean? Hell no. So I'll go over to that ammo store first and, pick and choose, see what I can grab. And, that's it. I'm more of a fortification type anyway, but I have to have the capabilities to bug out if I need to. You know what I mean? Like you've got your set right there, but you've always got that one vehicle that's ready to just, you keep that thing super tuned up. It's every day you're checking it out, you're starting it, making sure everything's good. You've got your bug out bag in it, your extra supplies, munitions and, MREs and such. Yeah.
Manliness Motivation said, get a short bus.
No, I don't need Geek Primax showing up. I think honestly, probably what I would do is I would head to the Winchester and have a pint and wait for the whole thing to blow over.
Nice.
That sounds like a great time to me, Bob.
But no, honestly, like ammo and shit like that. That's that everyone talks about. They want to have a bunch of ammo, and I'm like, I have a not a stockpile, but I have enough for me on hand to where I don't think if it comes between me and a zombie or something like that, I think firearm will be kind of my last resort. I'm just gonna walk away from them. But it also depends on what kind of what are we talking? Are we talking like 28 Days Later zombies where they can fucking run, or are we talking about like Walking Dead zombies where they shuffle around?
I would say Walking Dead zombies, because that's the more realistic type. I mean, in all reality, you're talking the dead coming back to life.
I feel like a parasite or like a disease that takes over the body that makes the body function. I feel like it wouldn't have enough power to make that shit run.
Yeah,
right.
They're going to be slow and stupid.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, the longer zombies run, they're going to continuously decompose.
Yes.
So things are going to break down. Like, knees will be the first thing to go, knees and ankles. So you'll have mostly crawlers. But I think what I would do, and this is my advice to most people, is I would try to go as far north as possible. Because you've seen what happens to meat in the freezer.
Yeah.
So if you get as far north as you possibly can, rigor, because the blood's not flowing. If the blood was flowing, that means the heart's operating and working. That means they have higher brain function. So everything's going to coagulate and congeal, and it's going to freeze. So I would get as far north as you possibly can. That makes them slower. You can outrun them faster. You have to deal with cold, but you can always put more clothes on. If you go somewhere where it's hot, you can only take so much off, and then heat stroke becomes a very real thing.
Yep.
I mean, hypothermia becomes a real thing, but, that's kind of picking which way you want to die, I suppose. But I wouldn't go after ammo first. I would go after things like isopropyl, rubbing alcohol, things like that, disinfectants, things like that to treat and do like TCCC, basically. If I get a wound or if I get a really bad cut on my arm or something, I need to be able to disinfect it, clean it, and stitch it up.
Yeah, true that. That makes sense.
So if I have a 30-round magazine and it's full to capacity, that means I can kill 30 zombies. Because, unless I get overwhelmed, then, that's just more, I don't know, if you get stuck in a room and there's like 15 of them, your adrenaline's going to be going. You're probably not going to get all 15 of them, just being perfectly honest with you. That, and if you have something like a machete or even a sports store called Academy, they sell spears, things like that. They don't have to be reloaded.
Yeah.
They have to be sharpened, but you can use a whetstone, you can use whatever you have available to you to sharpen that. So
Yeah, I would go towards like the cool machete like section. They got like weird gladiator swords and shit at Academy. So
they
I
don't have
would
to be
go after
reloaded,
those. Yeah.
and anything that has a reach. So I'd be more apt to go towards like the hunting section and get a bow, because arrows you can shoot them unless they break, you can reclaim them and reuse them.
You can do the whole Norman Reedus thing and just keep picking them up.
I'd have to use a crossbow because me shooting a regular bow, I look like fucking Hiawatha.
Hell yeah.
Like my arrow goes like 3 feet and just drops. It's like seriously, like I'm just a terrible fucking like I am. If it came down to me using a bow, or I would probably be like using that bitch like a battle axe. I would have to because I am not. I would have to learn. It's like adapt or die. But yeah, like if I had a crossbow, I feel like I would fare. I've fired a crossbow a few times. I'm not the best with it, but I feel like I could be way more accurate with that than I could, say, a compound.
I would just find a silencer and just put it on an AR or something.
Yeah, but see, silencers don't. It just muffles it. It just that's. I mean, it helps obviously, but it's still there's still quite a bit of noise that come out. I mean,
Yeah, but it's a big difference. I mean,
it is, but
it would be like a zombie would hear the silencer and I don't know. It'd probably just sound like a tree to it snapping or falling and breaking or something.
I mean, you can always shove a potato over the end of it too for a single use.
Yeah, you could.
That's a real. I'm not joking about that.
You can get like soda cans and shit.
Yep. I mean, there's hell the a lot of I've seen a lot of suppressors made out of mag lights. That's that. I mean, they work too. If they have to be like mic'd out right and everything. I mean, that's not me doing it. That's somebody who knows what they're doing because I sure as fuck do not.
And that's one thing I would also recommend is I wouldn't rely on anything, like I wouldn't add anything to your firearm or rely on it to keep you alive for survival if you don't shoot with it regularly. Because if you add a suppressor or anything like that to the front of any firearm, it's going to add weight to the front. So all your rounds are going to dip down for the first few that you shoot till you get used to it. So, and it kind of comes back. So things like rounds, unless you are stockpiled and you can press your own, like you have that ability, they're going to be a few and far between. After, over longevity, there's a term for it that I can't think of. But it's like over the course of 5 years, the rounds available will deplete rapidly. Unless you're, again, picking up spent brass, you have access to gunpowder and you can press your own. So, woof woof.
That's our dog behind us.
So,
it's
always, yeah. Now, there's also something about like communal living versus, again, nomadic being on your own. So, being on your own, you're only responsible for you and yourself. You don't have to worry about feeding people or taking care of people with triage or anything like that. It's just you. On the flip side of that, it's just you. So if you do get injured to some severe degree, there's no one to come looking for you. There's no one to help you. So I don't know what you guys think about communal living versus like having a group of four or five people, or
I prefer like the smaller group, much to your point of about like four. I would say four to six maybe would be ideal. But I mean, for defense purposes, you obviously strengthen numbers, but also there's a lot of downfalls that come with numbers as well.
You can't move as fast if you have a group.
There's a lot of accountability. And you have to be able to rely on everybody. It's like, can you rely on all the links of that chain?
Right. You're only as strong as your weakest link. So
Absolutely.
if it's four people, let's say it's you and three of your friends, and three out of the four of you know how to actively like clean it. That's another thing. I'd be getting. I forgot to mention. I'd be getting like CLP and things like that to clean my firearms because carbon buildup is a thing. So the last thing you want is to have, this ultimate best be-all, end-all rifle and then have so much carbon buildup that it jams every other round. So, let's say three of you know how to like disassemble, like field strip, clean, maintain. You can stitch wounds, like you can do all this. But then your fourth guy is someone who spent their entire life playing fucking video games and microwaving hot pockets, so they don't know how to cook over an open flame. They don't know how to cook anything. They don't know how to do anything. They're just dead weight. So, at what point do they become not your friend and they become a liability? So.
Yep. Absolutely, man. And then you have to think about that. It's like how can you trust these people when the chips are down?
Right. You're going to be protecting them. It's not going to be the other way around.
Yep. What is their fight or flight response?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of reaction do they have? That's a lot of it's just acumen, and it's it's situational responses, and it's do they truly know how to be aware of their surroundings at all time? And that's one thing my wife I started, and I've done this ever. My dad instilled this into me, and that comes from a law enforcement military background. He says, when you go sit down somewhere in a restaurant, he goes, always make sure your back's to a wall. And he that's when he's always told me. He's as a cop, he goes, especially what I did, he goes, man, he goes, no, always. And that's one I fucking, as much as I can, I always have. I was like, you're fucking weird. I'm like, no, I'm like, trust me. I think it's a security thing. I'm like, you gotta, your back, you're best with your back to a wall.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to see anybody sneaking behind me. It's just my thing. But no, I prefer like a small group. And yeah, that's like you always see like these big, like the colonies, say like on The Walking Dead, for example, or even in, was that Z Nation? Was that the movie with Brad Pitt?
Yeah, World War Z, where like Israel, how quickly like it, was it Tel Aviv they were in? I can't remember what city they were in. Mm-hmm. But how quickly, that area got overrun because they were all in there singing, and they all heard him, and it was like bam, it was like all safe, and then all of a sudden it's like not. Or Alexandria in The Walking Dead. So that's the problem with the large groups like that, because then you're trying to get people out, and it's like you have a better chance of dying trying to rescue people during your evacuation. Whereas if you're just like, you have okay, there's 5 of us, so let's go, and we're all in tight formation, everybody's got everybody 6, and you're just you get to your vehicle and you're gone. You're not looking for conflict, you're looking to leave with as little conflict as possible. Mm-hmm.
At that point,
make as little as a footprint as possible.
Yep. Absolutely.
And that's speaking of, you were talking about like moving in formation and all that. I don't know how many people have done TTMs here. It's tactical team movements, but like firearms, that like my Glock is probably like 3 pounds fully loaded, maybe like 2.5, 3 pounds. My AR is probably, I don't know, 10 pounds maybe fully loaded. That comes back to that whole item over time. Like if you have ever done TTMs and you have your rifle up at the alert ready or anything like that, like it gets heavy fast, like really fast. So that's something else to think about. Like you see these people in the movies like just moving through towns with their firearms up, and the whole time it's like, I don't think so. Like Glenn, you delivered pizzas before this. I don't think you could shorter that rifle for more than like 10 minutes at a time.
They do get heavy after a while holding it up.
Yeah, so
I'm not like an avid tactical trainer, even though I'd love to get into it. But I mean, just at the range shooting, you're like, oh shit. I can't imagine trying to sweep through buildings and shit with this.
My dad's put me through tactical drills using. Now I started we do this. This is like our Easter tradition now. I do this I start with a 22 pistol, and he makes me run around his house, clear corners and all that, all that stuff. And I have to come around, and I have 2 targets set up, one at 8 and one at 12 feet. And I have to, go to a low ready, and then it'll tell me, left, right, which one to go through. And then I go up and I start using the Glock, and then I use my AR to do it. But that is fun. But yeah, try now. My folks have a rather large old home, and it's out in the middle of nowhere. And yeah, trying to go around that with that AR up just the whole time is like, even though it's just a drill situation. Like the first time I did, I freaked my wife out because she didn't know what the hell we were doing. And I come walking across the deck, across the front of the house, and all she sees is me walking across, like in a crouch with my rifle at the ready through the curtains. What the fuck are you guys doing? But yeah, I always enjoy that stuff, man.
Yeah, and that's speaking about TTN, like, because we're kind of just going with a flux version of what zombies were talking about, like how alert they are, shit like that. But there's things like silhouetting that you have to be cognizant about, like if it's a dark room and you're walking past a bright window and someone's in the dark, they can see you silhouetted and shit like that. But there's things like that, and transitioning. It sounds easy, but until you've done it, like you'll fumble the first couple times. Transition from a long arm to a sidearm, especially like going from sidearm to long arm is a little bit easier because it's just kind of holster and bring it up. But that sidearm, that long arm, you have to get it out of the way.
Yeah.
So, and if you're someone like me, I like a single point sling, so it just kind of hangs there, which I really need to think about how I'm gonna like set up my rig and shit. But there's a lot of things to think about. Like people are like, oh, I would just I'd be fine in a zombie apocalypse. It's like a couple days maybe.
Yeah.
So, it's priority and wait over time and supply over time, and what you're willing to do to get those supplies.
Here's a big question. What would be your guys' like loadout?
That's classified.
That's too classified. What you mean, man?
Yeah. My recommendation is whatever long arm, sidearm, whatever you decide to carry. Think about what like safeties you have or anything like that, because some weapons, if they're in condition 1, if you drop them, can go off, or if, things like that. Some have a bunch of internal safeties built into where they won't go off if you drop them, shit like that.
I know Glocks are good about that.
So whatever magazine capacity you have, it's always +1.
Yeah.
So load a single round in a magazine, chamber it, and then repunch that magazine and reinsert it. So that way you have whatever the magazine is +1. And I would carry, depending, where you're at, what you're doing, and in this type of situation, probably I would say at a minimum 3 extra magazines per firearm at a minimum, just because you don't know what you may be getting yourself into.
Yep.
So, but that also adds weight. You're adding poundage to yourself, and so it affects your mobility. Like, I have my own plate carrier, things like that, but, I'm a lot more nimble without my plate carrier on. So I could probably make a hastier getaway. So there's, I guess, more than one way to skin a cat in this situation. So things to think about, like, if you put in, sappy plates or whatever, yeah, you're going to stop a few rounds, but it's also kind of heavy.
Yeah. And
So
that a lot of people don't understand the difference between the grades of Kevlars and different kinds of body armor and tactical armor and stuff like that either. Now the one that I have access to is it's basically just a standard issue that you would get basically on any normal sheriff's department type. Just regular Kevlar vest, probably 9mm.
What we call a second chance.
Yep, second chance. That's basically what it is. But you can it's got slip. You can slip the plates and stuff. So I think you could kind of beef it up a little bit. But I used to laugh because my dad showed me his fucking what he quote unquote his vest when he was on the police department. It was it was 2 flaps that you put over your head, and you slid a plate in the front and a plate in the back, and there was nothing on the sides, and that was it. I was like, he showed it to me the first time. I said, "What the fuck is this?" He goes, "That was my bulletproof vest." I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" He goes, well, obviously that was like one of the first ones I had, but I'm like, Jesus, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that almost seems like against the Geneva Convention to send people out in those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the thing. If you haven't worn it, I feel like most people that like Flare X and Manliness, I know you guys have worn it just because of kind of things that you've said. But for those who have never worn any type of armor at all, try bending over. We and I do it now, like, and I'm sure Flare X and Manliness, you probably do it without thinking about it. But when I bend over to grab something, even in my own house, I do what I call the sumo squat. It's where you bring your legs out at a very far triangle, and I kind of crouch down to grab stuff, just because that's what I'm so used to. Like, you can't really crunch your abs forward wearing that shit. So it also puts off your balance quite a bit. Because if you're wearing, let's say, an inner vest, you don't worry about it so much. But if you have like a molly carrier, then you have things strapped to it, and it puts your center of balance off completely. So you have to really think about what you're putting, where you're putting it, how much it weighs. You have to kind of balance yourself. Because I know a lot of guys, especially at work, that kind of front load themselves on one spot because they want everything in their workspace. I'm like, okay, if I fucking push you from the back, you're gonna fall right forward. So there's a lot to think about. So and it kind of, and this is kind of dorky, but it's also it's things you think about like in video games, like, oh, are you going to be a barbarian, or are you going to be a thief, or are you going to be a knight, like things like Dark Souls where your armor adds weight to your character and slows down your roll and shit like that. But there's multiple I guess there's a lot of practicalities to what we're talking about. So
no, absolutely, man. That is, and you really don't think about it too, because you just think about how could I survive, but you don't really get into the nuances of it, and that's what we're doing right now, is digging into those nuances. And that is, you think about it, man. Yeah, because you're talking like weight distribution. Now, what kind of climate are you in? How's that going to affect your hydration? And it's like, how long are you going to be on your feet in this armor?
Mm-hmm. And you also have to think about, like, not to talk about like basketball, but breaking ankles and shit like that. Like, how fast, like, can you take off? Like, if you had to start at a dead sprint, like, and you have all that on you, like, because if it's all in the front and it's weighing you down, you're going to start leaning forward when you run, and you might end up falling over like a toddler. So it's experience, it's endurance, and kind of getting used to it. Something else, and it's something that people don't really think about: water.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know people are like, oh yeah, you need water to live. I'm like, no. Like, if you're carrying all that shit around, it's like a warm hug that you can't get away from. It's just
one of those those emu backpack things, or not emu,
like a camelback.
Yeah, that thing. No, emus are the hammocks. My bad.
Yeah, a camelback. I have camelbacks. I've used them extensively. They're good for a portable water source that you don't have to like carry a water bottle or anything like that. But bacteria builds up in those quickly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's just a plastic bladder that hangs on your back. So
makes sense.
That's why, like, tons and tons of people, they put like shit like Gatorade in there, Kool-Aid in there, or whatever, because they don't want just regular ass water. But bacteria, anything with a sugar will build up bacteria, and you'll get really fucking sick really fast. So water is muy importante. Especially, like, if I said going up to, like, a colder climate, you'll become so dehydrated, not even notice it because you're not sweating.
Mm-hmm.
So, water is super important. I recommend things like, what is it called? It's not a sour straw, that's a candy. It's like a plastic tube that basically you can put into any, like, a river or a creek, and you can drink from it. It filters it while you drink it.
Isn't it called like a life straw or something?
Something like that. They're not like 100% foolproof. Like, you can't put that shit in like the fucking Mississippi and expect to survive. But it could help. It's something that's available to you, and they don't weigh a whole lot.
Yeah.
So things like charcoal tablets are good for like kind of pulling shit out of water and all that. And
Flint.
There's different ways that you can filter water to be able to drink it, but water is very important.
Make sure you got some Flint on you.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're going the nomadic style.
Yeah.
What did you guys do? Would you guys go nomadic, or? just sit tight?
I would. I know I'm one of those people that's like, instead of doing an absolute, it's always like, oh, I'm gonna do the best of both. I would have, and initially it'd be a stay put kind of thing, wait for like the crazy people out there to basically kill themselves more or less.
Yeah.
But eventually it would be a kind of nomadic. It sounds weird, but I'll explain. It's the best thing I can come up with is a nomadic pattern, I guess. Is I would have different places kind of set up with just bare essentials, but you wouldn't really know anyone's there. Like I'd maybe store, a box of ammo or a bottle of water someplace. I would just kind of ping pong back and forth between places, slowly fortify them, so that way if I lose one, I can bug out to another one. But, and that's the other thing. Like, don't. We're very in our current lifestyles, the way that we live, especially me collecting toys. We're very prone to building up possessions, like just grabbing things and kind of collecting things. But you have to think like anything. What is it like? Don't take anything or don't keep anything you can't take with you. Like,
Yep.
If you have to leave and you can't come back, there's a good chance that, oh, I have like 80 cases of Sam's Choice bottled water. Well, you're going to take about 3 of those bottles if you have to bug out, and the rest of it's going to be gone.
Yep.
So it's, stockpiling versus essentials kind of deal. Like, Flair X says, don't put all your eggs in one basket. That's what I'm saying. Like, you got to have some options available to you. So.
Yeah, that's key, man. That is absolutely key. You're spot on, brother. And like I said, this is a lot of things that normal folk aren't gonna they're not gonna think of it. They're gonna, you're gonna try like normal people try, like you said, the people that you acquire things, like people will try to grab like just stupid stuff that you couldn't possibly ever think about needing in a situation like that. Yet, people always will try to grab like, oh, I need my bowling trophy from blah blah. It's like, what is wrong with you?
Use that as a weapon, man.
You're gonna end up getting killed with that bowling trophy, Ralph. Good job.
Yeah. He was over the line.
You're over the fucking line.
Second place, loser.
But it's like we talk about things like ammo and having to carry it with you. Like, people always say bigger, better. I understand. I understand the credence of peace. I think Flair X even said it was peace through superior firepower.
Yep.
Like, there's definitely something to be said for that. If you're fortified and you have a fucking mod deuce up top, most people, if they're sane people, won't try anything. However, if you have to bug out, mod deuce ain't coming with you because that bitch is heavy. And I don't know if anyone here, other than Flair X, has lifted a full ammo can before. That's like, sometimes we have to carry 2 of those and fucking do runs with them and shit. And that is, you want to get fucking winded in a hurry, run around with fucking more ammo than you need.
How much one was weigh?
Well, it depends on the caliber. But
308.
I'll say between heavy and stupid heavy is how much they weigh.
Oh shit.
So you got to think like a substitute that people use instead of using live ammunition, which I wouldn't recommend practicing with live ammunition, is to fill it with sand.
Mm-hmm.
So fill it with sand, put some water in there, and that'll make it really fucking heavy and dense. So.
Oh man, yeah. See, right there. It's like and I'm completely on point with you with the like you said, being fortified, having some firepower, but then having the ability to bug out and leave. Having all that is set up ready to go for that moment. That is basically how I'd be. And I've joked around. I've joked around with my family before and said, I said, hey, we're doing something. You two better keep up. I said, this was why you're going to be zombie bait.
Mm-hmm. And the other something else I'd recommend. Let's say somehow, I don't know, you raid like a National Guard fort or something, and you get a 50 cal or a 240 or something. If you're going to leave for an extended period of time, like, you're obviously not going to take the 240 with you. Take something out, like take the barrel with you, or take something out of it that makes it inoperable. So that way, if you come back and someone has found your place, they can't use it against you.
That does make sense, yeah.
So, That's why being able to disassemble or field strip a firearm is very good, because the likelihood of someone finding your little spot and just happening to have the fucking bolt or something, not very likely. So.
Yeah, I would just take like a fucking helicopter and fly to an island.
That's what I've also said a boat is a good thing. Like, whether it's like maybe not like a yacht or something that requires fuel and an engine, but something that has an engine so you can go quickly, but something you can also manually move yourself if you need to, because you don't want to be dead on the water.
Pontoon.
So, but
it's party barge, man.
I mean, a yacht would be cool, but
survival tips and tricks with the boardroom.
They did the yacht scenario on season 2 of Fear the Walking Dead, I believe it was. They were on Strand's, the yacht he procured, and I was always miffed at how they lost that thing. I'm like, it's the plot, obviously, but it's like, that would require so much maintenance, though. That's the caveat to having a big boat like that, is fuel and maintenance on that big bitch. Like a smaller to even large outboard 2 or 4 stroke is pretty easily maintained. Well, at least they are to a certain point. Like I haven't worked on one in a while, but I did that for 10 years. So that's something that like I said, if you have one to just kind of scoot around in like that, that's the way to go, because fuel, they get good fuel economy on the water, depending on your speed. But if you're running from obviously zombies on the water, you're going to be pretty safe. Unless they're bobbing around down there, in which case they're easy pickings, because they don't have the best motor skills. So you can kind of just pop them off the side of your boat with a spear or something. Obviously don't use your ammunition on those, and because that just makes more noise and draws more in. Plus, it alerts others of your surroundings. So, and that's another thing I think people get caught up in, as far as firearms in a situation like that, is they always want to think about using the firearm, but they don't think about the repercussions of that, the noise, and how that's going to alert not just your target to your surroundings, but everything in a mile or so radius, depending on what caliber weapon and what area you're in, given the way the sound travels on the land. So that's another thing that I don't think people kind of, oh shit,
And something else, I'm sure Flair X has heard this before, but something people don't think about is there's a phrase called "get off the X." It's wherever you are and you're laying down fire, you are now a target. Your X is wherever you are. So if you're moving, like let's say you're, I don't know, pick a street in your town where a bunch of stores are and there's a bunch of zombies coming at you and all that. The instinct that most people have when they shoot is to come to a stop and start shooting, which is, by far and away much more accurate than running and gunning. But you have to get off the X. So you have to be able to at least move somewhat while you're shooting, which, you have to think about, because, if you have let's say you're using a sidearm, you have your arms out in front of you, so all your weight is there on your arms. It's kind of putting off your balance, so when you're stepping, your arms are going to go up and down while you're shooting. So there's different things you have to think about in terms of survival, like, because people base a lot of their stuff on video games and all that.
Yep.
So
that's a big mistake.
Yeah.
You see people, I have a chainsaw. Well, let me tell you how wrong you are, Junior.
Oh, I played Left 4 Dead and they used this. I'm happy for Left 4 Dead. You didn't feel the exhaustion from swinging things around.
I mean, I got plenty of baseball bats here, so I could just use one of those, pop some nails in there or something.
That's things like that. Brings me to another point. And we learned this from what are they called now? The First Citizens, I think is the political term now for Native Americans, is First Citizens or First Nation or something like that.
What?
Yeah, it's always changing.
It's
Indians. I have no idea.
So things like a baseball bat with nails, that's a good one-use weapon.
Yeah.
Because those nails will get stuck.
Yeah.
You have to be able to wiggle them out. But what we learned about things like tomahawks, they would flip them around like while they're on the horseback, and they'd hit you with the backside of it because it would still kill you, but the blade wouldn't get wedged into your skull.
Yep.
So that way they could hit you and keep going. It wasn't like, because if the blade gets wedged and you're on a horse or you're moving, it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Don't they sell tomahawks at the Academy now?
I believe so.
They're like the spear section, like near the ammo and guns. They got like spears and like those really
Roman
cool
swords
looking.
and shit.
What the fuck kind of store is this?
They got like Spartan swords.
Academy is a sporting goods store, so it's not just firearms and weapons. It's all, they got like basketball, soccer, like it's kind of like a Dick's Sporting Goods or something like that.
All right.
The Dick's Sporting Goods and all the stuff on there is like discounted more than you would get at like Dick's or like an actual store.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they didn't. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
When all this Coof stuff started out, they were the last people to still have ammo on the shelf.
Damn.
So
it's hard to find ammo now still.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. They always talk about, like, I remember back in the day when I used to listen to Alex Jones. One of my buddies got me to listen to him, so I listened to him. I was like, I never really bought into a lot of the shit he said. I just listened because he was funny, and I used to get stoned and listen to him when I played Madden because he was fucking hilarious. Listen to him talk about, just crazy off the wall, like, the Illuminati, they took over Billings, Montana, and they're running a prison out there, the American police force and all this shit. And it's like, you look into it and it's like, these InfoWars produce documentaries, and it's like, oh my God, this guy's fucking, he's a snake oil salesman.
That's a pretty good impression.
I get
turning the damn frogs gay.
yeah. The frogs are gay now. Roar. Alex Jones. I always think he's just like, I don't know.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm a little retarded.
You're a lot retarded, Alex. Oh, I know. Yeah, here's Paul Joseph Watson with a special. Oh God. But no, yeah, that shit was funny. But no, I don't want to get too far off the rails there. But yeah, this is a really good topic. We picked an excellent topic for this evening. No, go ahead, Sal.
I was say it was a fun one. There's a lot more nuance to it than people think.
Oh, absolutely.
So.
It's not black and white. It is not. What region would, now I heard you say earlier, it's best to go as far north as you can. Is that what region you would pick for the most sustainability?
See that's the caveat to that, because
there you go.
Yeah, the further north you go, livestock farming, things like that, it becomes very, like, you have to be good at farming if you want a renewable source of food. So places, I don't know, I think it's Connecticut or New Hampshire or something, is famous for having like apple orchards, things like that.
Yeah.
So that's good and all until the first frost comes and the apples become unedible.
Yep.
Then there's rot and there's everything else, because if no one's there to pick those apples, the ones fall from the tree, they die, they rot, and then you get slushy ground, and it becomes hard to maneuver through there. But for longevity purposes, I would imagine for at least initial survival, I would say as far north as you can get, at least where it's cold, for those types of things. But you got to think about that. Like Florida, has oranges year round, Cody.
Yeah, basically.
Which is good for vitamin C. You can have too much vitamins. Like you can really do some damage taking too many vitamins, getting too much of one vitamin anyway.
You got oranges, grapefruits, all types of shit, like Chinese plums, pineapples. People grow all sorts of shit over here.
But I always say you can never go wrong with a potato. There's not a whole lot of nutritional value in potatoes. Potassium, which is good, especially if you're going to be moving around a lot.
Yep.
Something else, you're going to have to really think about what you're eating, because whatever you're eating, that you are what you eat, as they say. So things like what was it, Zombieland? He wants Twinkies a lot or some shit.
Yeah.
So things like that, yeah, they'll last a little while, but they're not exactly good for you, because you're going to be eating a lot of small meals consisting of maybe an apple and a potato. Because if you eat a big meal, what is the first thing you want to do when you have a lot of food?
Sit down
and sleep.
Yep.
So It's a different thing, and that's the other thing. Sleep deprivation is real. You have to be able to sleep.
Yeah.
So, I don't know how long have either of you stayed up like consecutively. I think the longest I made was like 74 hours thereabouts, and
What
at about the 48-hour mark, like I felt like a fucking wall. Like I was just walking, like I was fine. I'd kind of like you get your what you call your second wind.
Yep.
I was on like my fourth wind by that point, and then around like the 48, 47-hour mark thereabouts, I hit this fucking wall, and it felt like I was just drunk. Like I was on autopilot.
Yeah.
Like I could move around, but everything just kind of was like happening around me, but I wasn't really observing any of it. So,
Yeah, mine's just a shade over 48 hours.
yeah. So it's fucking, and after a certain point, your body will just shut down on you.
Oh, yeah, that shit is very fucking real.
I would
You're
say
like-
the longest was like close to 24. I'm not as badass as you guys, but yeah, I think about 24 or so.
So
Yeah, you think you're like, I can do this, and your body's like, no, the fuck you can't.
Yeah, that's,
time,
You're gonna
time
sit
to go
down.
night night.
Yep, you're gonna sit the fuck down and go to sleep.
yeah. That I
And
was
you
on.
won't. Good.
I was saying that was when I was like at my first job when I was on call, and I was like going. And I didn't sleep the whole entire night. I was like working the whole night. It's like, what the fuck?
And so having a place to sleep is important. I recommend places like a barn, just somewhere where, like, I think of the loft in a barn where there's a ladder, something that you can go up and take the means of ingress, with you.
Yep.
Like, even if you wake up and there's zombies, like, on the barn floor below you, that's why you have a weapon. You can take them out, or you wait for them to leave, or you can use some other means of egress. Just somewhere where you can be elevated and then, be the king of the hill, so to speak. Somewhere elevated, because then you have the high ground, Anakin. So the element of surprise is kind of taken away, unless, they can climb or some shit. I don't know.
I feel like a school bus wanted to be that bad because you could like lock the door and everything, and then kind of hide in the dark.
And one place, something I always recommend is, I know this is kind of counter to what I just said, but have more than one exit. You don't want to only have one way of leaving. So I know that barn's kind of counterintuitive, or kind of just backwards of what I said, but we're talking about one night, and we're not talking about, oh, I'm going to hold up in this fucking, apartment that I have that has no windows because it's in the basement and I only have one door. Because then if something comes in, you have to get through them to get to that door, and then you don't know what lies beyond it.
Yep.
And something people really don't think about, because they seldom ever talk about it in these kind of things, is hygiene.
Yes.
I know people are like, oh, well, deodorant's not. Well, I'm not talking about deodorant. I'm talking about bathing.
Yep.
Because you're gonna have like bacteria and shit all over you. I don't know I don't know how long you guys have gone without a shower. I won't openly admit how long I've gone without a shower before. Just it's a disgustingly long time, and baby wipes were a big help.
Oh, dude.
Something to kind of freshen you up a little bit.
Yep. The whore's bad.
Yep.
I
Pits
would
and
say
crotch.
I would
Yep.
say like 3 days in college.
Hit the hot spots. I'm not going there with this one.
And
yeah.
then you know how kind of gross you start to feel. Everything feels kind of greasy and slimy, and then you just start to kind of feel sick after a certain point.
Yep.
So hygiene's kind of important.
Yeah, that is, man. Yeah, and they don't talk about like jungle rot either. They show these dudes walking through all this water and shit. It's like, yeah, you better fucking best be getting them boots dried out, or else your feet are not going to be so sweet.
Yep, trench foot's a real thing.
Ugh.
So change your socks, drink some water, and it'll fix most. I know we make fun of that a lot in my line of work, but change your socks, drink some water, you'll feel better. So always clean socks are a big thing. trench foot, athlete's foot, just various little things that you don't really think about. But if you're wearing, boots, because that's what I'd be wearing, just because that's more or less all that I own. Um, Wearing boots, that's a lot of sweat, that's a lot of moisture, that's a lot of peeling skin, that's a lot of, it can turn ugly fast.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Not a pretty sight. To be sure. That's yeah, man, we're just like on fire with these tonight. So I hope you Walking Dead enthusiasts out there taking notes. If Angela Kang is listening to any of this, trust me, we can help out with some realism tips on the show there.
mhm.
give you the what's what it sounds like. No, really, this is some good stuff. I do like this because it's like, if you okay, so I want to talk about, like, so if you were the kind of person that could design, if you were going to rebuild a community, like, the Alexandria, or like, the kingdom, or the savior's place, what the sanctuary, what which way would you go? Like, I like the sanctuary, but when they moved there after all out war, a bunch of people moved back there, they couldn't grow gardens or anything because it's around an industrial building. So that really rules that out, because then you have to put your garden off premise, which puts your people in harm's way.
That's
So
I would say Kingdom, 100%.
yeah.
Kingdom, or I know it doesn't get talked about a lot, but the prison.
Oh, dude, yes.
It's already got the defenses built in. It's got the high fences. It's got a whole bunch of shit. It's got a big open areas for planting and farming and all that. That's, if we're talking establishing community longevity, like, everyone's kind of figured out what they're gonna do. But yeah, I would say places like a prison, or even the Kingdom, only because I think of my high school when I think of the Kingdom, and that bitch was made out of stone.
Yeah.
So even if a fire broke out, it's made out of stone. The building, the structure itself won't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Inside, you might have to do some light renovating, but otherwise, like, the structure itself will maintain its integrity. So
See, I like Alexandria, but the defenses for Alexandria are severely lacking. Like,
the defenses for Alexandria had the walls built the wrong direction.
yeah.
Because they had their fucking, where they called it, an L brace was facing out instead of in. So if you were pushing on it, it was just going to topple forward.
Yep.
But
Yeah, that was that's a problem. So I did, the Kingdom was great. Like I said, Oceanside is a little underrated. I because you do have, if you're there, you obviously should have access to some boats. So you do have a bug out there by water. Plus it's pretty. It seems like it'd be pretty defensible too.
Right.
Which those are that's a solid one too, I think.
yeah.
I would
That
say
place. Good.
Kennedy Space Center. It's
Okay.
out in like the
Yeah.
wildlife refuge area. It's all
Oh, yeah,
swamps and shit, and
Yeah, I've
you're
been
right next
there.
to the beach. So if anything, you could go to the Air Force Base that's right next door to it. Get a boat. You can dock the boats like close by the beach, and if you needed a quick escape, which I don't feel like you would really need one because it's a giant like campus area. So I mean, you got plenty of shit over there. So I
No,
think
that's that's something else that I would think about is exactly
Manliness
Two
and
ships at the same
motivation.
time.
He
love
wins.
this guy.
Manliness and motivation wins for the night. And wait, here, let me give you your prize. Here you go. There you go.
Something else. What would be good about Oceanside, specifically compared to let's say like a stream or creek or river or something like that. Oceanside, barring I don't know, let's say a shipping container or some kind of rig or something catastrophic happening on open water and it affecting your area, which the likelihood of that not very high. Like, let's say if you're off the coast of, I don't know, Maryland or something where they don't really have a bunch of oil rigs.
Yeah.
But you have not necessarily not clean because it is salt water, but you do have saltwater fish available. Whereas if you're in a stream or something, unless you know what lies above you by a substantial stretch, if something happens, let's say you're on a river and there's freshwater fish there that you catch, and that's kind of your daily course of food. Um, unless you know for a fact that upstream you're fine, but let's say you never travel and there's, I don't know, 5 miles upstream, there's a settlement, and that's where people are throwing their waste. You know what I mean? Now everything's kind of contaminated. That fresh water's no longer fresh. The fish kind of absorb that through osmosis. So there are certain things like that you have to think about. Basically, what we're the kind of the ground of all of it is there's no official way to survive. Like there's longevity, there's ways to survive longer than certain people, but there's no way to survive to like the end really. So like the way that you could would be like nomadic between all these ideal places, but that journey is not guaranteed safety.
Oh no, that's the risk right there, is the traveling in between. When you're out on the open road, you're more susceptible depending on the amount of numbers you're traveling in. And that's always took like The Walking Dead, the guy with the red raincoat that got caught by the wolves. It was always sad. I was like, this poor son of a bitch. But no, man, that's it too. You got to think about that. The traveling, it's like, okay, so you have a route or a area where you're going looking for supplies. Do you have contingencies if something happens? If you encounter hostiles, or you said too many zombies, which do you know where to go? Do you know the routes, alternate routes in the area to routes, I don't know, to get around where you need to go, and still maintain, some safety and maintain the integrity of your vehicle.
Yeah, you should always have primary, alternate, and tertiary. You should have multiple routes because you don't know. Like, let's say one of your main routes is through a highly wooded area. If a tree falls down, unless you have a way to move that tree yourself, because it's going to be kind of heavy, or like if you have Cody's monster truck and you go over it, that route is no longer available to you.
Yep.
So yeah, there's a lot, and for some reason I remembered one of my least favorite movies is called 1914: The Western Front. It was a Dutch movie originally called Patrie, and it's fucking awful.
I've never seen it. Shit about it one night.
Yeah, it was bad. It was really bad. The movie itself wasn't bad. The voice actors that they chose to dub over the Danish people were bad.
I would say Zoolander 2. That movie is just the worst.
I never stomach. I was like, no, I'm not.
It's
The first Zoolander was not great, but it was funny.
Oh,
So
that was awesome, dude.
I'll let that live, in its own bubble. I don't need a second one to that.
Imagine them making Old School again, but today.
Oh,
in college. It's stupid.
God damn it. Hey, Ray's Double Dong's got to take off. Thank you for stopping by tonight, brother. We appreciate you, man. Have yourself a great night. Hope all is well with you, my friend. And remember, I'll ruin your mythos in a minute, baby. You don't know it, you won't, because I haven't given it to you yet.
Have a good night, brother.
Have a great night, man. So I don't know. I think this is probably a good place to leave off for the evening. What do you guys think?
I think so.
Yeah,
unless the chat has anything that they'd like to toss in at the last second.
Yeah, you guys got any $10 super chats you want to throw out? I'll DM you my PayPal info. Oh shit! What we're doing right now is I'm starting I'm doing a it's a juggling routine, but I juggle imaginary balls. So it's stunning and brave, and I want you to watch. I listened to what the hell is that? Fuck Evanescence.
Yeah.
Somebody get this reference here.
Bring Me to Life.
There you go. Fucking D'Angelo Vickers.
I love him, dude. He's so fucking funny.
Will Ferrell was great in that little stint on The Office. But anyway, before we get sidetracked again, manliness and motivation, Flair X, Ray's Double Dong, The Men's Room, Admiral Tiberius, Keely Chow. Who else is up in here? Let's see. Franchise History TV. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for opining and being here tonight. And for all of you out there working and lurking, be sure to smash that like button if you please. And I lost a subscriber during the show, guys. So come on, somebody hit that subscribe button that hasn't subscribed yet. I know there's a couple y'all listening out there that haven't subscribed yet that listen. So just do it. Just hit the button. Do it. Anyway,
It's
guys.
free. It doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah, it's free, and it always will be for me because I'm not in this for the money, guys. I just do it for the hose. No, really, it's just fun to make videos for you guys. And Salvador, man, what do you got? Anything coming up you want to talk about, brother?
Well, I recently acquired these individuals.
Ooh.
So those videos will be made in the coming days. Will probably be filmed tonight, honestly, and then released over the coming days. So
Oh my
look
god.
forward to those.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh.
Beyond that, I have a video I made last night, which will probably be put on the back burner because it's not important. But I talked about where are they at? Come here, you. I got some bootleg ass toys.
Yes, dude, these are fucking amazing.
Yeah, so Hulk, for whatever reason, they didn't paint his whole pants. They just painted his little trunks there up by the crotch.
Look at that Hulk with the Daisy Dukes on.
And they didn't even do the rest of it. So, and I don't know, but I don't remember Hulk being able to shoot lasers out of his chest. But I guess that's a thing.
Jesus.
So,
Yo, what up with the shins?
It's laser pointer Hulk edition.
yeah. Oh, you want to see some shins? I got some shins for you. So, here's Nightmare Fuel Batman.
Jesus Christ, dude. Oh, this one.
Let me adjust my focus here so you can get a good look at his face. And then
look at baby
legs.
legs.
Little legs.
He's got some Joe Swanson legs.
Ooh.
Why are you making fun of my
Batman.
legs?
Yeah. He's supposed to be able to shoot lasers out of his chest as well, but his button's broke. So I made a video about all these little bootleg toys that I got. But that's on the back burner.
This is atrophy legs Batman.
Yeah, that's what I call him. So, to include super scoliosis Captain America. So he does chest all day long because look at his shoulders.
What is?
Also
Where'd you
shoots
get these?
Also shoots lasers out of his chest.
Jesus, what is this?
And then
jam?
for whatever reason, his legs are gigantic compared to the rest of him. So I got
Wait,
this on
what's up with his
Amazon.
eye? Wait, look at his eye.
All right, he doesn't know, he can't look straight, so he is looking off to the side.
I reckon I'm gonna look at one of y'all while I'm talking to the other one.
So just like Hulk, I don't know who the hell he's mad at because I don't know where he's looking. So
like
which
a
one of you?
YouTuber
Which one
that-
of you is the Hulk mad at?
I don't know. But yeah, so I made a little video about those. That'll be coming out here soon-ish. Probably whenever I'll probably do these, upload them, and then this will come out sometime in probably a week or two from now.
Dude, I'm so jealous that you got that Plo Koon. Oh,
That's
and the
sexy.
Kit Fisto. God.
Yeah, dude, those are two nice looking
Yeah.
figures.
Yeah, that's it pays to pre-order, so that's what I say.
Those are so cool.
Yes, they are, dude. All right. Well, thank you, Salvador. Thank you, sir. Indeed. Mr. Cody, what about you, brother?
I got a single release video in the works right now. I am jotting up some ideas for some more. Of course, I'm still waiting for Thomas. He's an anthropologist, so he's up in Chicago. So he's really busy with his line of work. So don't blame him for being busy there. But I'm down to do a live stream. So if you guys want to do a live stream on my show one morning or something like that for a little bit, 30 minutes or so, we can do that. But yeah, mainly the only thing I got in the works is the single release video. So yeah.
All right, man. It's good to see you getting ready to release one, though.
I know,
That's
man.
that's good. That's what we want, man.
I know. I'm so. Oh my god.
Wait. That's Nightmare Fuel Superman. Is that teardrop tattoo Superman? He'd been in prison. Oh wait, those are his eyeballs. Shit, never mind.
What if he
Jesus.
got bumps on his? He doesn't have a mouth. He just has bumps.
He looks like that fucking dude that lost his mouth in the Twilight Zone movies. Anybody
He's
remember
got a
that one?
butthole mouth.
Like that guy was that Preacher. The guy had a butthole mouth in Preacher. Oh Jesus. There's fucking Sloth Thor.
Oh my god.
Thor's like, I got
O'Doyle
scoliosis.
rules.
I got
O'Doyle
scoliosis,
rules.
motherfucker. Jesus. He's got a fucking.
Holy
He's got a
crap.
Gretchen Whitmer fucking forehead.
Where did you get these, Sal?
Holy shit, man!
Oh my god, I want to shop there.
Those are fucking. Those are scary as fuck. Oh Jesus Christ! It's melting Spider-Man. All I want is a freaking Spider-Man that shoots lasers out of his freaking chest, and he has long, creepy fingers.
Oh my god.
Coming to get you.
God knows what fucking crevasse those fingers of erstwhile plunged into.
Wait, show his legs.
Does he have baby legs too? The fuck is wrong with his calves?
Kevin Durant legs, man.
Kevin Durant legs.
They're pretty bad because you just pull them right out.
Oh shoot.
Help! I dislocated my knee.
Legs.
I dislocated my knee. Help!
So yeah.
Ugh.
Holy
Like pumpkin head.
The pumpkin head, nice.
Oh god.
The best part is that all these little grooves are like carved into his chest, but they missed the paint on every single one of them.
They did. Holy shit! Look at that. It's all off. This is all wrong.
Sal, where did you get these?
Amazon.
You gotta send me the link to these things.
Oh my god.
Yeah, they're atrocious. They're terrible.
Those are horrifying. Like I think those would like scare a child.
Are those straight out of Wuhan?
I don't know.
Those were made in a lab in Wuhan where some other fucking thing was conjured up too. Oh shit. So let's see, what do I have the rest of this week? Tomorrow I actually have to do grown up stuff. I have to go to work tomorrow and do grown up things. So I'm not gonna have a video tomorrow, but Friday you will get the long awaited, much anticipated Is It Woke episode 6. I'm not gonna tell you what it is, but that'll be released Friday. And yeah. So you're gonna get 2 single releases out of me. So go watch the video I did earlier. Just check that out, of course. Talking some Star Wars, Kathleen Kennedy, again, KK, but that's all right. She cray. I can't believe I just said that. Jesus Christ, shoot me. I can't. I just fuck. Why?
She's the worst, so whatever.
Why would I? God.
You have done that yourself.
I've become the very thing I swore to destroy. All right. But yeah, this has been the Boardroom, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you slap that like button on the way out. And I was kind of lazy because I had the whole description typed out and then my fucking computer froze and erased it all before I uploaded the thumbnail. So you guys go to my channel and the links to Salvador and Cody's channel are on mine right there in channels. You can find them. If you're not already subscribed, go subscribe to them. Their content is fire. Fucking big ups to Salvador, of course. His channel is just fucking still kicking ass and taking names, which is fucking awesome. And there's fucking Jesus Christ.
God.
Oh my God. Why?
What was your initial reaction to getting these, Sal? Were you laughing or were you kind of pissed?
I was very excited. I love bootleg toys.
Oh God, those are fucking terrifying. But all right, guys, this has been another great episode of the Boardroom, and this meeting is officially adjourned, ladies and gents. We thank you so much for joining us.